Welcome the champ, Mr. Evander Holyfield.
Woo! That was fun.
I like the robe.
Good job on the robes, Andrea. What was it like the first time coming into the ring as the champion of the world?
Oh, as a champion.
Because you know, you were 21?
No, not as the champion of the world. I was 28.
28 as the first undefeated cruiserweight champion.
Yeah.
28. So
that was 23 as a cruiserweight.
okay, so 23.
Yes.
So you're fighting amateur from 8 to 21.
Yes.
And at 23, you win your first undisputed championship, and then you come into the ring that first time as the champion. What does that feel like? I mean, you've waited all your life to finally be introduced as the champion of the world.
Right.
Well, it's quite different. I became a champion in my 12th professional fight, and I was told that he don't have enough experience. And of course, the guy that I fought, Dwight Muhammad Kwawi, said, "I can't believe y'all send a baby out to do a man job." And so he started throwing Pampers at me. And so, with me, my mother, I knew my mother would be watching television. So I realized I had to keep my cool because my mama said, attitude, you got to have that good attitude.
Yep.
And so, but everybody thought I was afraid because this guy kept talking all this noise. But I realized that my mama going to get me if I lose my cool.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. So when the fight came out, when the fight happened, and that's when I realized that, I can get him now.
And this guy's throwing Pampers at you?
He ain't no Pampers at me. Pampers,
Was that at the weigh-in when you were in your boxers? But
well,
when is he throwing Pampers at you?
Well, because, the big thing of boxing, a lot of times you try to win with words. I'm telling you, words are very important. And, and that's pretty much what people tend to take for granted, the words that are said to you, don't nobody choose their parents. They don't choose your neighborhood. You don't choose your skin color. You don't choose none of that. But it's always somebody always killing you with these words.
Right.
My mama just said, stick and stone may hurt your bone, but words don't. I'm like, words are what keep coming back. Somebody can hit you one time, and, you'll get over that pain. But the words just keep coming back to you. And, my mom used to tell me, son, don't worry about them. I said, but they laughing at me. They keep telling me I can't read. And like this, not that I didn't want to read, I wanted to read, but they keep telling me I can't read, and they keep laughing at me. So when it's my time to read, you get to think about it, they're going to laugh at you. But, but I was a better fighter. But my mama told me, you better not fight. If they don't touch you, you can't touch them. So I didn't know how to get somebody to touch me where I can fight them.
I wouldn't touch him.
I couldn't beat them in the word, but they could beat me in word. But my mama told me, you don't take advantage of nobody. You know you fight good, so if they don't touch you, it was amazing. I didn't know how could I get them just please hit me. Well, I have a reason. My mom says, you hit me, I can hit you back. But if you didn't hit me, I couldn't do anything.
I got a question for you, champ. Before you beat Dwight Muhammad Qawi, and I remember that fight, 15-round fight, you experienced maybe the biggest setback in your life at the Olympics. And you have a phrase that I've now added to my vocabulary: setbacks pave the way for comebacks.
We all face those same betrayals or feelings of pain through experiences like you had in the Olympics. So what would you say to everybody as they go through their own trials, as they go through their own pains or setbacks? What's the one thing that they can do, along with having a good attitude, to stay on a track and stay focused on the goal?
Well, actually, what worked for me is, it's something that when you're fearful, I'm in the game of boxing, and boxers don't supposed to be scared. And they don't supposed to be. Well, at least they tell you don't supposed to be. And and you're supposed to be fearless, and you're supposed to go up here and all that. But boxing was the thing that kept me close to God. Because my grandmama, when I used to get them whoopings as a kid, laying her hand on my head and telling you got to ask Jesus to help you. So with me personally, all my life, is what is good or bad, I learned to pray and be able to be thankful for God, because my grandmama was always saying, you know what, you got to give God praise on everything. And so, things don't work out for you, and you get to saying, how am I going to give him praise? How am I thank him that not letting this happen? But what it is that it's like, if you give your all, and your all is not enough, that God would give you wisdom, understanding how to make the adjustment. And so you go back again. So how do you really expect to win when you didn't do enough? So if we yet ain't learned how to do the right thing, they don't know how to do the right thing, and for somebody to get to you because of favoritism, then all of a sudden the whole foundation gonna fall. I found that, I personally, because I was the youngest at 9, always mad and always upset because my brothers and sisters kept beating me, and I wanted to win. So in this same aspect, if you're not enough, you got to come up. You got to rise up. You got to pay attention. And so my mama made me pay attention. So all these excuses what hinder you. And so the thing is that me telling them is that if you didn't get what you want, then you have to judge yourself. Now, the Bible says, judge yourself first. You got to judge yourself. You got to ask yourself, are you giving it all? Or are you giving yourself excuses to quit? Like with me, my mama was the judge. Because I come complaining to my mama. My mama say, okay. Now, I really want to quit this job because I didn't really like the job. Now, I had a job, I was gassing airplanes, but I knew I was going to be the heavyweight champion of the world, but my mama said, you got to live till you become the heavyweight champion of the world. So you got to get a job. So, I'm gassing an airplane. I'm gassing this airplane. And so I come up with this excuse. As a kid, and sometimes as an adult, if there ain't nobody to correct you, you come up with these excuses. So my excuse was, man, these people are prejudiced. They got me doing all the work. But I'm the youngest guy. I'm just got out of high school. I'm 17. Everybody else, 25, 26, and all this. And I kind of thought if I was younger, they cut me some slack. They didn't cut me no slack. You the youngest, so you the one that's supposed to run. You do all the work. So it's obvious that I don't think it's fun no more. So I come home to my mom with some excuses. I said, Mama, I'm at this airport, Mom, I'm doing everybody work. She said, what? I said, I'm doing everybody work. I'm the only one that working. And my mama said, well, how many hours you working, son? I said, 8 hours. She said, then how in the world are you doing somebody else's work? She said, don't they pay you for 8 hours? I said, well, yeah. I said, but ain't nobody else doing that. She said, son, don't you know when they get ready to fire somebody, they're going to fire them. They're not going to fire you. So you ought to be happy they ain't doing nothing. You got something to do, don't worry about it. I wasn't looking for that. But that's what my mama gave me the truth, that you make an excuse. My mama said, don't you know you need that job? She said, because you know what? You're a man. She said, you know what? There's something good about being a man. And I'm like, she said, you know why? I said, why? She said, because if you work 8 hours, then you know what? You got 16 hours being the man. She said, but if you don't work them 8 hours, somebody's going to be telling you what to do them 16 hours.
That's good.
So
that's wisdom.
This is what my mama, she took all these excuses because, me being a fighter, you know what? If you don't want to get hit, then how are you going to be a fighter? If you don't want to get tired, how are you going to get a fighter? You got to ask yourself, for all that you want, what kind of excuses is you giving yourself? You know, if you're not ready, so you know what, God give you another chance. Okay, add some more to it. Okay, I didn't get it that time, I got to add some more to it. If I don't do that time, get some. But if you keep giving it to it, eventually you're going to get it. You know what? I'm the youngest of 9, so you know what? I always wanted things before time. I wanted to make the Olympic team, but I wanted to make the Olympic team in 1980. Know why? Because I wanted to show everybody and prove to everybody in the school that I was going to be something. I didn't make it. They didn't even have Olympics in 1980. But they had the Olympic trials in Atlanta in 1980. When I went and seen them guys, I go, oh, my goodness. Them guys fought. I said, oh, wow. Well, I'm glad I didn't get in that. They would have beat the daylights out of me. But in 1984, I went in high school. Wasn't nobody there to prove it to it. The point is that, do I really want to make the Olympic team? I made it, because you know what? I wanted to. It wasn't about nobody else. And see, a lot of times you got to think, the things that you chose to be, did you choose to be it because you wanted to or you want to impress somebody? My mama would tell me, she said, son, when you show up yourself, that's when you're supposed to do the best. She said, when you go somewhere, don't you show up all the time? I said, yes, ma'am. Then you do your best all the time. You don't need me there. You don't do it for me. Do it for you. No, because at first, anytime I was going to be nice, because I was going to be nice because of my mama. But when my mama wasn't good, I did what I wanted to do. And you know what happened? I started getting them delayed whoopings. I got tired of getting delayed whooping, because when they find out, they tell my mama I get the whooping. So it took me till I was 15 years old to realize I didn't want to get no more delayed whooping. Then that's when I started asking Jesus to help me keep from getting in trouble, not help me to get out of trouble. And that's what my grandmother told me. So you're asking Jesus to get you out of trouble instead of asking you to keep from getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's what changed my life. And with the business, it's pretty much the same thing. If you don't quit, you're going to get there.
That's right.
But, you know, the Bible says you have not because you ask not. So how many times do you really want something that you really ask Jesus to help you?
You know, yesterday, this morning I was talking about how each one of us, we have these dreams, and it's just a matter of believing that we are worthy of accomplishing those dreams and those visions that God gives us. And yesterday, for some of you that are here today that weren't in lunch yesterday, you know, Evander said something that really struck me, and I thought about it quite a bit throughout the day. And we talked about it last night at dinner. And I asked you, I said, you know, you were told that you were going to be the heavyweight champion of the world repeatedly. And you believed it. And you lived it out. And I said to you, how many guys do you think are told that they're going to be the heavyweight champion of the world their whole lives and never live it out? And I thought about that for us. I thought about how many of our members and how many of our guests in attendance have been told that they were going to be the best and are actually living it out in their lives, being the very best, leading and paving the path in their industries, forging forward and believing that they are the success that they're supposed to be, versus how many are not. And I was just wondering, Evander, you know, what are the things that our members can take home with them today when it comes to the difference between the woman or the guy that believes that they are going to be the best and then fulfills it, and the person that doesn't?
Well, I would say, is, you know, I have people always giving me these statistics. Out of 100, 20 people going to show up. 20 people really going to do the work, but you're going to have 80 people not. And, you know, it's all depending on what area you go in. But I found out that, you know, just like in my house, and this is what my mother told me when I was 21 years old after I came back from the Olympics. My mama said, I come home from the Olympics, And my brothers and sisters seen this contract that I was going to get $1 million. And they said, we rich. And my mama looked at them and said, wait a minute. Let me tell you something. Y'all not rich. He rich because he did what I told him to do. And my mama looked at them and told him and said, look, he said, I didn't love him no more than I loved you all. It just, he did what I asked him to do, and you somehow kind of felt that, because I have a 6th grade education, that I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just, my mama said, I'm just glad that I stayed on him and not let you all change my mind to tell me that, because, you know, you got them brothers and sisters and start telling mama, you know what? Because my brothers and sisters told my mama that I was going to be a sister. Because you know what? Because she wouldn't let me go out. You know, and I had to be in the house. You know, to be 11th, 12th grade, you got to be in the house at 9 o'clock. Like this, you know. And so all my brothers known to have a lot of girlfriends. So I didn't have no girlfriend. Because you know what? I didn't want my mama to have to tell them they can't call after 9. They kind of mess up the reputation. You know, you got to understand, living in the projects. I lived in the projects. And the projects supposed to be bad kids. You know, you're supposed to do everything that's bad. And the people who live in the houses kind of like underline, kind of favored the people from the project because they had a lot of fun. But, you know, I lived in the project, but I couldn't do that. My mama had tighter restrictions than theirs. Now, but their parents worked. My mama didn't work, so she was there, so she knew that wasn't nothing going to happen. So with me, it was quite different because the fact of the matter, when it all came down, it was all about my mama and what she said and what other people thought was fair. And I kind of thought it wasn't fair, but you know what? I became who I am because the difference. I knew the difference between love and friendship. My mama told me, said, you got a lot of friends. You only got one mama. Like this, and she held to that, you know. And regardless of what my brother them said, he gonna be a sister. My mama said, we'll see. We'll see. As you can see, everything that was goal setting, my mama said, everybody got to understand kids do what you allow them to do. I'm what my mama allowed me to do. She didn't allow me to do it. Yeah, I was there, them guys, they did drugs, they did all that. I wasn't going to do it because the beating that I was going to get wasn't worth trying to please my friends. That one thing, it was a different. My mama and that mama first. That's it. Whatever I want to do, I had this thing where that I knew that there's a good chance I can fight anybody, but I wasn't going to fight my mama. Because with my mama was in charge. And my brother, who they call Wild Man, who shoots somebody every week and gets shot every week. And if he was afraid of my mama, I know good and well I was going to be afraid of my mama. And my sister, who whooped everybody, they were afraid of my mama. My mom was the only person who could beat the daylight out of you and tell you, put your hand down, you have to put them down. So, but this is the type of mother I had. And so, you know, realistic, and this is how everything started. Everything started from who the head of the house. And so you're, as a kid, you're not going to be no better than that person who's giving them instruction. My mother told me, said, and I didn't want to go to school. My mama said, but you're going. And you're not going to get an F. And you're going to have an A in conduct. Because the A in conduct represents that you did your best. Because if it's a B in conduct, means that you didn't do your very best, and I'm going to beat the daylights out you. So I had A in conduct all the time. And so, you know, I didn't fail no class either. I earned them C's. You know, I earned them C's. But this is what happened. That was what you call a structured environment, but trying to pretend and hold my eyes up like this for 5 or 10 minutes for them to be red and come into class and act like I was high. But you know good and well that I had to, when I go home, I have to smell my clothes, make sure they ain't got no kind of scent in my clothes, because my mama gonna beat the daylights out of me. Hug me just to smell me. And I just, you know, it's just say, it's just, and you tell me you've been too close to somebody. So that's the type of family I came in that allowed me to be the person who I am, to be a believer, and knowing that, you know what, when things ain't stressed, you know what, you don't call on. I said people only call on Jesus when they stress. So I called on Jesus all the time because I was stressed all the time. Because you know what? Because somebody always telling me I couldn't do something. My mama kept telling me, son, you cannot worry about what people say. Now, it's your choice, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Because the devil is on his job daily.
Yep.
And wherever you at, the devil trying to divide, conquer, and divide. He's trying to divide and conquer. And so like that, so, you know, within your house, you know what? I have brothers and sisters say, you know, mama just telling you that because she mama. So, you hear what they say, but the difference is that they was older. Now, my mama like a fire. That fire will spread. If my mama get on one person, you still looking, it may catch on to you. So, you know, so what happened is that they was old enough to leave. So I learned that they leave you here with mama after they done stirred up mess. So you better not do what they said, because they gonna walk out on you, know. So what? So I was a telltale. So everything my mama asked me, I told her. So because I was the one that tell all the time, my brothers and sisters never do nothing in front of me, would never let me be a part of nothing. And I became successful. Nobody gonna show you nothing if you tell them. So they don't. So I didn't get a chance to get into none of that. And so the people wondering, how in the world can you escape that? I was a telltale. I was a telltale because when my mama asked me something, I tell her because I know she gonna whoop the daylights out of me. I told her.
Hey, Champ, you shared something, I think it was last night at dinner or maybe at the lunch, and I've heard some of the story, but you said something yesterday that really struck me. I'd like you to share a little bit about your first coach, Carter, and you shared, I hope it's okay to say, I don't think it was at dinner, I think it was at lunch, but you shared that he was the first man you ever said, hey, I love you. And I want you to talk about the impact having that coach, that first coach in your life that led you to this.
Well, it's the same thing that, because people always ask me about my kids, and I let them know. I said, well, it's quite different. I said, you got to understand. I said, I go to the boys club. I said, only people who ran the boys club were white people. I said, now, my mama had already told me, you can't be prejudiced, son. And that crayon box is good and that's bad in every color. So, so I realized that because, at this time, people, white people were devil and all this and stuff. Everybody was making up excuses. My mom said, son, they make an excuse. You believe that, son, you'll get stuck in that too. Now, if you're not prejudiced, your opportunity for success is going to be greatly. So I get to the boys club, and here's this man with emphysema. This man got emphysema. He could barely walk and breathe and all this. He got the eagles on his arm. Now this man, because I get on that boxing team, because he found out that my mama was a good mama, so he felt that he wouldn't be wasting his time. So this man give me everything. So yeah, it's not like boxing, you just box and just a box, but if you box, you get to eat something different. You get to eat some Burger King. You get to do all these things. See, it's easy to motivate a person who don't have nothing. Now, this man, other than teaching me boxing, he was just like, he was the man in my life. I didn't have a father that said anything good to me. Oh, son, you do this. This man, when I go here, this man sit and talk to me and all this. They tell me, oh, well, you know, he wouldn't say this wrong. He said, maybe do it this way. Come on, let's do it this way. And all this, and tell me, you know what? How you doing in school? You know, I ain't want to talk about school. He said, how you doing in school? I do what they tell me to do. Like that's it. He said, but what do they tell you to do? So I found out this man asking me all these questions. But him asking me the question let me know tomorrow that, you know, I said, well, in other words, I said, well, I don't know. Then he said, I'm going to ask you the question tomorrow. What happened in school? Then you think you can remember what to tell me? So when people expect something, then all of a sudden you know that, okay, I need to listen because my coach going to ask me going to ask me things. Now, my mama didn't ask me nothing because she didn't know what to ask me. She was sending me to learn how to read, but she didn't know how to read, so she didn't know what to ask me. Now, this man know how to read and all this, so he asked me what school, then, okay, did you understand what they said? So he would help me. So all of a sudden, now, he told me that I could be like Ali. But in the point he told me that I could be like Ali, he told me, I don't want you to fight like that. I don't want you to run your mouth like that. Well, how in the world you going to want me to be like somebody and you don't want me to do these things? So I want to drop my hand. He said, do you know the reason why Ali dropped his hand? I said, it looked good. He said, He don't drop his hand that look good. He dropped his hand because he's trying to get the other guy to punch at his face. That's because he said, Ali's so quick that he can have his hand down when the guy get ready to swing, he hit the guy before he hit him. He said, but if he have his hands, there won't nobody swing at it because he's so quick. So he can't punch through their defense, so he have his hand down and get him a target. Then when they come at the target, he do it. He said, are you that fast? No, sir. Okay, then keep your hands up. In other words, you can't just be like, you got to know the reason. Everybody, for everything somebody succeed, they do it for a reason. There's a purpose. So, this coach is the one who bought me my food, bought me my everything. And so in this fight, when I finally was able to do what he wanted me to do, when I lost, I didn't want to fight no more. I told him I didn't like it. And I'm so glad that he was an adult because, just think about it's you taking care of this kid, and this kid, you do all these things for this kid. When this kid don't win, he tell you he don't like you because he didn't win. I'm telling you, that was me. I was a kid. And I'm glad that he realized that I was a kid. And my mama made me come back. And that's the reason he realized that I had a good mama. Because they realized that most people who say they love their kids don't make their kids go through nothing. Because my mama loved me, she made me go through it. And it's kind of, and when you talk about structure love, that structure love is somebody telling you to do something that you don't want to do. My mama loved me so much, you know what? You go back. My mama did not like boxing. I didn't find that out till I became the heavyweight champion of the world. But why would somebody make you something that they don't like? She couldn't stand to watch it. But this mother, because of this is how this man realized what he had.
You've got the art of negotiating down because you were facing an opportunity to fight Mike Tyson, and he was coming out of jail, and you didn't want to fight him because you didn't like the paycheck. So you pulled out this negotiating tactic with Don King. Why don't you tell us about that negotiating tactic?
Well, it's, with me, just some things just common. Tyson, he go to jail as ranked number 1. In 3 years, come back out number 1. and they won't even let me get number 1. I'm still fighting, beating people, and like this. And so, of course, he knocked these few guys out and make all this money, get this big contract. I've never been envious or jealous of nobody, and I realized that everybody have their day. So the days that God kind of show you that in this point of these setbacks. Now I fought this guy Reddy Bow, which Reddy Bow is a real good big guy. He hit real hard. I'm like, fight this guy. Now it's 1-1. Reddy won 1. I won 1. So all of a sudden, since Tyson and all them people just got, I fight Reddy Bow. I get sick. Before the fight, and everybody said, they carried me to the doctor. They said, man, you, what that? I forgot what they said I had, but you pick up from seafood, and they said, well, hepatitis. You got hepatitis A. Oh, you really don't want to go in there and fight with a hepatitis A. And with me, I'm that kind of lucky, I don't train all this hard time, so if you don't get in the ring, you don't get paid. So, and I'm supposed to get $9 million. So, the fight ain't number 36 minutes. But I don't do all that hard training, it's not like I'm gonna get my youth back. I can't go back and you can't recover none of it. So I just make up my mind that, Lord, you need to help me, because I'm going to the ring. I cannot go home and they ain't gonna give me no money. You get a zero. Either you get in this ring or you cancel that money. You don't get no insurance. They take insurance on the fight, and the fight go to the promoter. Don't nothing go to the person who got sick. We'll reschedule, and we may not reschedule. So you know what? I have $9 million, and I prayed, and I said, Lord, by your stripes, I'm healed.
Healed yourself.
I go in, I'm not, and going in the fight, this prophet told me, he said, Evander, God told me to tell you this fight is for you. He said, but there's one thing that you got to do. You can't lose focus. So now, he told me, you gonna knock this guy down. But when you knock him down, you got to stay on him. Please don't change your mind. I said, I'm gonna knock Reddy Bow down? He said, yeah. And I started laughing, because I'm like, you think if I knock that big clown down, you think I ain't gonna stay on him? And I just started laughing. And so, I fight this guy. Every time the guy hit me to my stomach, my stomach hurt, and I'm like, oh Lord, just let me hold out till I knock him down. Eventually the round came, and the bell ring, I come out, and I'm jabbing him, and I hit him with a left hook and right hand, bam, and he fall down. And I'm looking, and look like he's not gonna get up. And I turn my head, and he's up. And they said, box. I go out, and all of a sudden I said, I don't feel good. And instead of getting on him, I just laid on him and like this. And everybody wondered, what's wrong with him? And it's obvious that I changed my mind right in the concept, because I started thinking about myself. And you know what? The next round, he hit me a couple of shots. They stopped the fight. He win. And all the people who were boxing looked at me and said, man, his heart is bad, man. He got to have a bad heart. He would have killed that guy. So everybody started talking like this, my friends and stuff said, I cannot believe, man, that if you just blow air on it, he would have fell. You know what I mean? I said, look, that's the way it is. Of course. I go back and get on my knee, and I start questioning God, Lord, you know, and I start to come back. You didn't stick to the game plan. You went through all that, you knocked him down, and before you went out there, you started thinking about, I'm sick. It's almost like Peter walking on the water. Peter was walking till he started thinking about everything else. And that's exactly what happened. You know what? And that setback, I had just told the people that before I went out there, they asked me, what you going to do for 1996? I told them, I'm going to carry the torch. I'm going to carry the torch and I'm going to be the heavyweight champion of the world. So here it is. This is 95 in November. And losing that fight, man, they laughed at me. They laughed at me. You know, in 1986, I went out and I fought a guy named Bobby Cheers. And I was supposed to kill Bobby Cheers. But Bobby Cheers fought me hard, but I still beat him. And you know what? He quit in the corner and said I had something on my gloves that got in his eyes, but in the corner, they heard him saying his back was hurt, and his corner man said, no, he got something on his glove. So they stopped the fight. And of course, so they started checking my glove like I was a cheater, that Evander had some ointment on his glove, that he had to put something on the glove to make this guy stop. So they found out that I didn't have no ointment on the glove, but he was getting some punches in his eyes. Like this, but in that same process, looked like everything went downhill. And it's amazing how God is, because you know what? As soon as the fight, they said, God, Evander couldn't even knock Bobby Cheers out, man. He done. I get a call next week that Mike Tyson wanted to fight me. You know what? I flew to Canada. We had to meet. We couldn't even meet in the United States because they said Mike Tyson gonna kill Holyfield, and we can't believe that they would let Evander Holyfield go in there with Mike Tyson with a bad heart. He talking about God healed him. Ain't no God healed him. Ain't no God in boxing. That's just an ego. Because, you know, I had a lot of Christian people kind of feel that if Mike Tyson beat Evander Holyfield, see, Mike Tyson's a Muslim. So it going to mean a Muslim can beat the Christian. So we can't have, so I had everybody fighting, saying, no, this is not going to go. So, of course, I went on to Canada. We meet with Mike Tyson. And here it is, Don King. So Don King said, we going to give you $4 million to fight Mike Tyson. I looked at him. I said, how much? He said, $4 million. I get up and walked away. And they said, where you going? I said, tell Mike, fight himself. Because it's obvious that he's so popular, people just want to see him. Let him fight himself. So that was it. So no, I said, no. And so my attorney come back and say, Evander, you know, this is a point of negotiating. I said, man, this ain't no negotiation. I said, look, this man trying to get all the money. Let Mike Tyson fight. I said, if he's that popular that he can draw that many people by himself, he needs to fight himself. He don't need to have me in there. So they come back negotiating. Okay, then. So they got it up to $10 million. So, you know, I still didn't think that was enough. But I guess, you know, I didn't think it was enough. And I sat there, and my attorney said, Evander, he sat me down. He said, now the reality is what? How much you get to fight? Your average fight? I said, $2 million a fight. He said, okay. He said, so they gave you 10, so how many fights you got to fight to get 10 million? That's 5 fights. He said, now if you even do 5 fights, you still ain't gonna be the champ. Then you say you could beat Mike Tyson? I said, man, I know I could beat Mike Tyson. He said, okay then. if you know you can do it, then take the $10 million and become the champ. He said, I promise you, if you beat him, I get you as much as you want. I said, you mean that? He said, yeah. I said, okay then. All right. He said, where you going? I said, look, I ain't going back in there. I said, I'm going to dance. The dance? Why you going to dance? I said, I might well start celebrating now because I'm going to be the champ, man. And he said, well, okay. So he go and negotiate the contract. So at the end, they said, no, you got to come back because, he said, if you win this fight, Don King want to sign you with him. I said, you know good and well I don't want to go with Don King. He said, look, that's the only way you're going to get the fight. So I go in, and I try to play on his emotion, but it didn't work because you know what? When they good too, you can't play on them. So I goes in, and I go, so I go in and tell Don King, I said, well, you know that I can't beat Mike Tyson. I said, but the money's good. I just wanted to get the $10 million. I said, so why would you want me to decide that I'm gonna win this fight against Mike? I said, you think Mike know? I said, you think Mike, what do you think Mike can think about? He said, look, let me tell you something. I don't want to hear nothing what Mike think about it. I'm a businessman. I cover my bet. I said, so you think I got a chance? No, it don't make no difference whether you got a chance or not. You're going to sign that contract if you go fight him. Like this, so okay. So we signed the contract. I said, but I gave him a little bit, I couldn't just let him have it that way. I said, then, okay, I signed the contract. I said, but you got to put in here that I don't have to fight no more after I beat him. He just said, you ain't gonna beat him anyway. I said, well, if you thought I was gonna beat him, well, you would make me sign it. I said, so give me this. If I win this fight, I don't have to fight no more after this fight. No, I said, okay, then if you think I ain't gonna win, then why do I need to sign? So I get it. So you know, he signed the thing that I don't have to fight no more after this fight. Of course, I went in the fight with Mike. They made me take the steroid test. They didn't make Mike take the steroid test. So they thought I was on steroids because they see how muscle I was and all this. And so the enemy go tell Mike, that boy on steroids. Look at him. So, of course, so they made me take the test. So I told them I will only take the test if you don't show it to Mike until after the fight is over. They said, why? I said, look, you got to give me something. You ain't making him take the test. I said, how in the world did y'all have a test? Well, I'm the only one got to take the steroid test. Why he don't have to take the steroid test? I said, because it looked like he may be on there. You know what they tell me? You don't need to worry about him. I said, okay. But as long as you don't show the test till after the thing. Why? I said, it don't matter. It's just on you don't show it. So they signed the thing that they can't show the steroid test till the fight is over. Of course, as we know, we get in that fight, Mike acting like I'm the lamb, like he gonna eat the lamb. So as the fight, because everybody always often wonder, say, we seen you in your fight, your lip was moving. What were you saying? I said, I was just praying in tongues. I said, because I didn't know what to pray for. I said, so that's the whole big thing. I was praying in tongues, and because everybody said, you were saying something. I said, I said, I was praying in tongues because I didn't know what to pray for. I said, because I didn't want to pray the wrong thing. I said, but when you're praying in the tongue, you're praying the right thing. I said, so when the fight started, Mike hit me with that right hand, and from that point on, it went downhill from me. I started to busting him up. I said, I was hearing the people in the corner say, I told you he was on steroids. Like how he just pushing Mike all over the ring. So they were saying, oh man, he's just pushing. So when they started saying I was pushing him, so I really started pushing it. Then I said, okay, because it's obvious they keep telling Mike, that's all Mike, don't worry about it. He got to be on some steroids. Oh my goodness, I got a little bit more aggressive. I started pushing more. So, Mike started giving in, because, Mike saying probably in his mind, he a cheat. He don't supposed to cheat. He a Christian. You're right. But you know what? The fight was over. They wasn't even mad. They were saying, let's go see this steroid test. They were just so happy. When they looked at it and they opened the thing up, it looked negative. And everybody, what? And everybody said, why you ain't tell them? I said, losers can't stand the thing somebody else cheat. See, in life, if you complain, then you're going to bring problems yourself. But if you just be quiet and don't say nothing, they can't read you. The enemy, only thing he can win if he taking advantage of you. But if you ain't complaining about him taking advantage of you, just be quiet. He thinks something's wrong. And see, that's what my mama always told me. Say, look, hey, don't complain. Complain to become automatic loser in life. Complain all the time. My mama said, this is the reason why you pray. God put people in position to how you're supposed to be able to handle the people in authority. My mama said, pray for people who despitefully use you. And everybody said, how in the world you forgive Mike Tyson? I said, sure. That's what God said. Pray for your enemies. I pray for them. I said, hey, if you pray for these people who you think that use you, giving you all this problem, if you turn it around and say, oh man, every time Mike said something bad, I said something good. But I said, Mike is a good fighter. I said, look, he went before I did. Because Mike Tyson did it, I realized that Mike Tyson did it, I can die. Because you know what? I'm bigger than Mike. Hey, what? Oh, yeah, I'm bigger than Mike. Mike was the first little guy that went in there busting people up. I said, you know what? I learned from it. I figured if this guy was not a Christian go bust somebody up, you know what? God know God going to help me. I said, that's it. That's it. I'm a believer. I'm not a believer because I became a fighter. I'm a believer because I know I need God. There's nothing in me. If I mess up too much not to be a Christian. See, people get it wrong because they think if you're a Christian, you're perfect. You wouldn't have to be a Christian if you were perfect. That's the reason you need Christ. Because I'm not perfect, that's the reason I need Christ. Because everybody always asks, how in the world you going to talk about you're a Christian? I said, look, all the mistakes I make, you should know I'm a prime example of what a Christian is. God, people who fall short, as long as you got to show that you believe in him. I believe in him. I know I need him to win. I know my mama had a 6th grade education. She didn't know everything. But I said, Lord, give me wisdom, understanding to be able to do what my mama asked me to do, because this is the mama you gave me. I ain't want nobody else mama. I got a mama. I got a dad. I met my dad when I was 21 years old, first time seeing him. When I looked at him, I said, oh, mama, oh, I got a body like daddy. And after being with my daddy for 2 weeks, and I said, well, Lord, I said, it's something. I said, Lord, I thank you that my dad didn't live with us, with my mama. And everybody said, why? I said, my mama, my daddy would have to kill my mama. My mama don't never shut up. I said, my dad is the strongest person. My dad is the strongest person in his body. He pick up a truck. He can pick a back end up a truck. And like this is how he made his money. But my mama don't never give in to nothing. Now, I lived under that rulership and became the man who I am, but I said, wow, man, Lord, you sound, that's because, woo. I'm like, I had to grow up in an environment, nobody hurting my mama or anything like this, but I realized that, I said, this is something. I said, my mama seen him, and my mama got mad with him because I liked him. I asked my mama, why did you bring me up here to see him then? She said, I just want to show him how I've raised a man to be a man. I said, well, okay then, Mama. I said, Mama, do you remember telling me to pray for him? She said, yeah. I said, I prayed for him all the time. That one day I was in. I bought my dad a house. My mama got mad with me. Son, how in the world you gonna do that? He don't deserve nothing. I said, Mama, how much money did you pay for me to go to boys club? She said, I ain't have no money, son. I said, God's grace was sufficient, right? She said, son, I raised you too good. I said, Mama, just think about all these things that you taught me. You told me to forgive him. I said, Mama, what did you tell me? Son, if you miss your daddy, then know that when you have kids, they gonna miss you too. So be the daddy that you want him to be, that you want him to be to you, to your kids. So don't ever let nobody come between your relationship with you and your kids. And right there, I have 11 kids from 5 different women. You know what? I see my kids. I think about all that my mama told me. And my goal today is to show people that I'm not going to be an infidel because my kids didn't choose their mama. And the kids didn't choose me. So I've tried to get the mother. I talk to the mother of my kids and tell them, hey, you got to understand, the kids didn't choose me, so don't get mad with the kid. I said, I don't get mad with the kid when you don't tell them the right thing to do. I said, I said, God never give you more than you can handle. And so the most important thing for me is to bring my family together to show people that, you know what? I didn't choose my mama. I didn't choose my daddy. And my kids didn't choose me. But God gave me the wisdom and understanding to know that the devil's job is to divide and to conquer. Don't let nobody take your kids. Don't look at your kid and say, your kid did all this and then gonna blame them like they raised themselves. They didn't choose you. They didn't choose their mama. We have that kid. When I look at my kid, that's me. That's me again that needs some help. And if it wasn't God showing you that, God showed me and say, all that your mama didn't do, what all your daddy didn't do, I was there with you because I let all these people help you. Carter Morgan, all them boys club members, all the people who did this. My mama didn't have no money. She gave me some knowledge. She introduced me to Christ. And my grandmama introduced me to Christ and put her hand on my head and said, Lord, you got to save him because his mama gonna kill him if he don't change. But this is what my grandmama prayed on me all the time because she knew that it was necessary because my mama didn't take it. I got 3 whoopings a day. And and I became the man who I am.
That's good. That's good. Evander, one final thought before we wrap it up, and then we've got a little surprise for you. The final thought is, gosh, you've lived this legendary life in the ring, out of the ring. You've earned hundreds of millions of dollars as a businessman. And is there one principle in stewardship before we close that you could share with our members tonight?
Well, it's more like this. A thing like this is, I truly believe God already know where you at, where you're going. Already set provision for you to make the adjustments as necessary. God knew that what kind of mom I had, what kind of father I had. He knew what I was going to do and paid away. And so the whole big thing is that even in finance, I never took nobody's money. I never took advantage of nobody. I never took what God gave me as a strength to use it to take advantage of nobody. I'm a good fighter. Been a good boxer all my whole life. My brother didn't have me to beat up the guy that come down the street. My brother called Wild Man. He'll wait for after school and say, because always some little bit of kid challenging my brother said, my little brother be coming home, and if you fight him, it's all right, who are your little brother? I beat him up. Then we fight, I win the fight. But after 13 years old, I never had another street fight. And not because I couldn't fight, because I was a good fighter. Because my grandmama said, you never take your strength that God given you to take advantage of people. And so you know what? I fight. I'm a good fighter, and I don't take advantage of I have a lot of people don't push me, but I do give them a warning. I say, look, hey, I don't fight for free. But you know what? I'm not going to let you hit me again. You bump up to me again, I'm telling you, you're going to be sorry. And you know what? And somebody say, man, do you know who you bumping up to? That's Holyfield. The boy said, what? Yeah. Come back and apologize, man. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were Holyfield. I said, but you shouldn't be pushing on nobody at all anyway. You know, why should I have to be Holyfield for you not to push on me? I said, look, I'm not scared. I said, I just don't like hitting people for free. But the thing is, is that the fact of the principle of all this thing is that I'm so glad that God put people around that you can. I'm a believer, and believing is what allowed me to make a lot of money, and believing will allow me to lose a lot of money too, because I didn't know that one way ain't gonna win the whole way. Now, I became successful because I believe the boxing coach and all that. And all these people got me to the top. But didn't nobody never tell me that, okay, when you get money now, you got to ask some questions, Evander. You just can't believe everything that people say. Now, I done that. I didn't blow my money. I had people that came into the relationship and kind of took advantage of my kindness and all that. But I'm back on the trail. Because you know what? But the same attitude that it took for me to become, to make the money, but the same attitude I have to. See, I know that the devil tried to get you to say, if I can let one thing happen to you so bad that you'd never believe nobody, he trying to isolate you by yourself. And I'll never let the enemy isolate me. Because you know, God tell you to be successful, you got to get with people. Somebody. But if you, out of embarrassment, go hide and think about, they did me this way, I'm not talking to nobody, you ain't doing nothing but defeating yourself. Every time something happens, matter of fact, when they put me out my house, this house I spent $20 million on.
How big was that house?
54,000 square feet. And, you know, and I was sitting here, and I was mad because, you know, I was mad because as a kid, I told my mama, Mama, I'm going to be rich. I told my mama about your house, I'm going to do all this, everything I told my mama I'm going to do. And you know, and the people prophesied, said, man, you'll never go broke. But you know what? In the point of never going broke, I didn't know that I was going to lose anything. You know, even when they say I was broke, you know, I still made $300,000 a year. I make $500,000, $1 million a year. But I thought that's what my broke was. My broke, you know, I'm like, you know, but I remember when I used to make $8,000 a year. Now, so it's all in how you look at like this, you know. Well, I had this big old estate. I had all these different things. But the principle is that if you don't do what God asks you to do and you go to sleep and never do what God asks you to do, you start finding yourself sliding. You know, ain't nothing like having some people working that you should let go, but you didn't. And I know I didn't let them go. Because you know what? I want to be a good boss. And I thought, you know, I just make up for them. And more that happened, then I had family members that I should have let go, but I didn't let go. And it kept draining. It kept draining. And everybody who would lose their house in foreclosure and they need help, I help. Then all of a sudden, when it got down to me, I ain't had nobody to help me. So I prayed, and the Lord said, you're not broke. You got to make the adjustment. So, it reminded me of this is what happened in the championship fight. When you're the champion, you win. You know what everybody said? We did it. When you lose, oh man, what did you do? So, in it all, this is the reason why you build your relationship with God. He don't change. He's always there, telling you it got to take some time to get back, but I will be back where I was and farther. Because you know what? I trust in God, and I thank God for the relationship. I'm telling you, when they came into my life, and I'm like, saying, what? Because, my assistant would tell me, say, these people want to help you. And I paused. Help me how? Because you know what? Everybody wants something. These people came in with some knowledge. Oh, we with this Christian Foundation. I'm like, well, that's the first time somebody Christian ever called me, want to help me. Because, it's amazing that, I'm a believer. I have more people want to sponsor me with some other products that may not be Christian products. And everybody said, well, how in the world you get up this thing with Budweiser and all this? I said, well, you got to understand. I said, for me to make the Olympic team, I said, I would ask for sponsors when nobody sponsored me. I said, then Budweiser shows up and said, we going to give you money where that you don't have to work. All you had to do is just box. I said, now, I was 19 years old. I made the Olympic team. I said, now, and so this was in 1996. I said, now here it is. They had the Olympics here, and these people wanted me to go and deliver this message for them about how they help the thing. And y'all gonna question my integrity because these are the people who gave me an opportunity? I said, because you know what? I said, I've been Holyfield my whole life. I ain't just become a Holyfield when I became the champion. I said, but these people who help. I said, and so I was always wondering why the Christian companies don't get behind and help people like what the quarterback for the
Tebow.
Yeah, Tebow. I was trying to figure out how in the world they let everybody talk. We just let people jump on our people like that. And AC Greenwood, the basketball player, because the boy said, I'm a virgin. Everybody laughed at her. Oh, man, I can't believe this. I'm telling you, but these are Christians. These are Christians that, somebody was able to get them at a younger age and kept them in a great position. Like my whole thing, I realized that, I came up in the hood and this is how it was. So you get these bad habits, you try to break the bad habit. But I tell my kid, no, you don't want to do this. You want to do the right thing. I said, I did this, and these are the things I had to overcome, but you ain't got to overcome it. It's all depending on how you come up. You ain't got to overcome this. My kids trying to go to the ghetto. I said, why you want to go to the ghetto, man? I lived in the ghetto. Why are you trying to act like that? I said, hey, look, don't do that. I said, look, let me tell you something. I'm one of them guys that trying to trick all the people in the houses that I was like being high was cool. I said, I hold my eyes up, eye burning and all this just for my eyes to be red. Then I got to make sure that I'm closing my eyes real good where they can get back white when I get home because my mama going to be looking in my eyes. I said, this is what I done. So, and this whole big thing is that me meeting people, it's like it's a breath of fresh air. Because my own thing is that most of the Christian people that, you meet them on Sunday. That's it. That's it for church. And after that, then everybody go their own way. Then you don't see them no more till Sunday. Now, this is the first time somebody ever came into my life and said, look, we want to help you to get back on your feet and to be able to help other people by telling people your testimony. And so I'm honored today to have this opportunity to share with you all the things that I experienced and the things that I went through. But all this is in being strong. Because how in the world somebody gonna tell you something they ain't never did nothing? They ain't never did nothing. What have you been tested in that you can sit here and tell the person, say, look, hey, winning is not an easy process. It's not an overnight process. But whatever time you found God, see, I found, I was born with God because to have my mama on you and all this is you're gonna have Christ and you're gonna stay in that church. And you talking about, I'm telling you, when we went to church as a kid, I said, we go 10 o'clock. We ain't getting out of there at 7 o'clock. and God's still moving, that means you still there. This is it. So this is how it was for me. So, I had to give my life to Christ every Sunday because my grandmama said, you don't do something wrong. Go back up there. Go back up there. Testimony. You got to tell everybody what you did. I got to tell it. So, the point is people say, why you tell? I said, because, I was brought up. I said, you confess. You confess. This is what I done. Lord, forgive me. Like that, but in the point of confessing, I stand before the people. I'm not afraid to tell nobody I love the Lord. And in the country I go to, I went to the Muslim country. They stopped me in the plane. They had a plane to land and said, oh, we got Evander Holyfield, the president of the country. Oh, man. And you know what they asked me? How in the world did you forgive that Mike Tyson? I said, being a Christian, that's what we do. The man just shake his head and say, wow.
Listen.